No? Okay, the first, I think, is intercultural skills. Intercultural skills is very often, I think, misunderstood. The intercultural skills is not knowing the others. It's not enough. That's not enough. Intercultural skills means to be able to go outside of your own model. To be able not to have only the milestone, the references you have in your own culture. We all pretend that we are open to the others. We all pretend that we like to work with the others. We all pretend that we respect them, except a few fascists. But we all are good people and we all pretend to be like them. It is pure bullshit. We all were raised by families in a system, with a language, with a religion, with a school system that puts in our minds that our way of doing things, of eating, of loving, of raising kids, of everything, is the system. And we still have huge difficulties to understand why the others act differently. So, the distance between what we pretend and how we really feel, I've been making lots of game with lots of people and putting them in condition after having said, yes, we want to cooperate, we love the Turks, or we love the Arabs, we love the Russians and so on, and making them play roles. And after half a day, realizing that they hate them, they can't stand them. Why do they do that? So it's really very typical. We must, in a way, be destabilized to be able to understand the others. Because understanding, entering into the skin of the others, means first to be able to question yourself, to question your value, to question your system, or your system of values. You follow me? That's a bit radical, of course. I'm not wanting to destroy your system. I don't want to kill your identity. Not immediately, at least. But I think that if you're not able to be a bit destabilized, to be a bit looking at yourself in the mirror, and your brain in the mirror, and your values in the mirror, you will never be able to understand from inside the others. Even the thing that you find totally weird and strange from them. It does not mean that after this exercise, you will not be able to criticize what they do. Of course. You can come back to your own values, and of course change them a little bit, or change them radically, but at the same time, you then have an identity in evolution. Because when you are like a monkey on a tree, holding the tree like crazy, and holding your identity, and fighting only for your identity, it's an exercise of the past. It's an exercise which is, by definition, extremely conservative, and extremely excluding the others. Because then you are absolutely sure of your tree is the tree. It's the tree. No other monkey can jump on your tree. This is my tree. And my tree is the best tree. So this destabilization process is very important. And it's very difficult to do. It's not because you go on holidays in Turkey that you know Turkey, that you know the Turks, that you know their logic, their history, their system. And that you have an appetite to understand the others, an appetite to want working with them, because they can teach you a lot about yourself. They can teach you a lot about yourself. My main university was not my university, was Africa, because instead of the military service, instead of 10 months in the army, at that time, I went 2 years as a kind of civil servant, volunteer in Congo. And in Congo I was in the bush. And the way these kids were looking at me made me rethink totally who I am. Totally. They were my professors, these little black kids. much more than my super professor of my university. They taught me how I was, how I could become. So this is something I call porosity. It means that you are like the skin. You should be like the skin. Because the skin is alive. The skin is a wonder. It's a pure wonder. The skin breathes. It takes something from outside, it throws back to the outside. It breathes. This porosity to the otherness is something, for me, absolutely crucial. So that's the first thing. And that's not by courses or by explanations or by reading that you understand that. It's by a state of mind. It's by a volunteer logic of encountering the others. So that's one thing. The second thing, which is a totally different logic, is management. When you are managing cultural organization, institution, art projects, anything, it is everywhere complicated. Everywhere it's complicated to run it, to fund it, to negotiate with the authorities, the artists which are unbearable, and so on. It is always complex. And you think it's the most complex in the world. When you do a cooperation project with people of other countries, not only they are different in their minds, but they're also different in the way the system is run in the other countries. We see it, for instance, in Belgium. I'm in French-speaking Belgium. We work with French, for instance. We speak the same language. Winston Churchill used to say, America, United States, and England are two countries divided by the same language. So the language is one thing, and I will go back to language because for me it's crucial. But that's not enough. That's not enough. There are other differences. It means that as far as pure management is concerned, the pure management is multi-complex. You are in a multi-complexity project system. It means that your skills about management must be geometrically hypertrophic in comparison with what you do. Otherwise, you break your neck. There are many other skills and competencies. We've been doing a research a few years ago about that. We wrote a book about that with partners. But the third one I want to stress here, because we should stop if we want to have a debate very soon. The third is language. Because, of course, language is not the only communication system. There is the non-verbal communication. There are lots of other communication processes. But language is fascinating because language is not only language. Language is much more than language. Language is also a respect for the others. It's also, if you cooperate with someone, at least try to speak a little bit of his or her language. It's a respect system. It's also a system that is defining the interaction you as a human being have with the galaxy. In some languages you say the moon masculine, and in some the moon is feminine. It's only a stupid little example, but it shows the radical difference in the way we name the thing, we name the emotions, we name the actions. So this system of languages that is shaping your mind, is something that enables you to understand the logic of the others. The more you speak languages, the more not only you are able to negotiate with the other, understand the others, but the more you've got a mental flexibility to get into differences. My kids, for instance, my wife is Serbian, she's a terrorist, so they speak immediately French, and the mother tongue is not the tongue of the mother. That's bullshit. The mother tongue is the tongue of the school, of the place where you live, because their friends speak French, so that's why that's their mother tongue. But they started very, very little to speak Serbian.